10. Stabbing store security. In October of 2020, two sisters went shopping in Chicago. A store security guard asked the sisters nicely if they could please wear their masks. But instead of complying, they had a full mental breakdown. One of the sisters punched the security guard in the face, and the other pulled a knife from her pocket and started stabbing. This was one of the most violent and horrific mask-related incidents of late 2020. The sisters, identified as Jessica and Jayla Hill, were prepped and ready to do something terrible the moment they walked into that store. People don't just erupt like this for no reason. It's as if they had been waiting for something just like this situation to set them off. According to police spokeswoman Carrie James, the guard had done nothing except ask the women to put on their masks and sanitize their hands. It was Jessica Hill who pulled the knife from her pocket and started stabbing the guard in his back and chest, while Jayla held him by his hair so that he couldn't fight back. In the end, the 32-year-old victim was stabbed 27 times and rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Jessica and Jayla were arrested at the scene and taken to jail on attempted murder charges. Last we heard, the security guard did manage to pull through, and the sisters have not yet been let out of jail and are awaiting trial. 9. The ultimate Karen. On January 18, 2021, a woman from Parma Heights in Ohio refused to wear a mask inside a grocery store. It was the same story we were hearing throughout the course of the pandemic. But what makes it truly unique is that her name, the name on her birth certificate, is Karen Turner. It's almost as if she was born to be a Karen in the truest sense. Karen was arrested for trespassing when she refused to leave the grocery store and wouldn't wear a mask. But this woman didn't just refuse to leave, she turned into a full-blown Karen. She argued with a store employee over federal laws as if the person at the cash register had any clue what was happening. And then when the cops pulled her out of the store and put her in the squad car, she started screaming hysterically. She said she was going to sue the police. When they tried to take her purse, she began screeching at the top of her lungs, "Illegal search! Illegal search!" It was all pretty embarrassing. Karen was banned from this particular brand of grocery store for life and had to pay a fine of $573. But the real punishment came from being humiliated in front of the country. 8. Slashing at IHOP. At an IHOP restaurant in Queens, in the same week as the defenseless woman was beaten in an elevator in Brooklyn, a man lashed out at an employee and stabbed them. The situation unfolded on a Tuesday afternoon, all because the customer refused to wear a mask. According to the local police, the suspect was informed he needed to wear a mask as soon as he stepped foot in the restaurant. When he refused, he was asked to leave. As if this guy had been living under a rock for the past year and didn't understand all the rules already in place, he had a huge mental breakdown. He screamed at everyone. He made an enormous scene, and then went to fetch a knife. When he came back to the IHOP, he tried to stab one of the male employees. But as he swung the knife, he missed the man and slashed a 40-year-old woman across the arm. The knife cut her so deep that she needed 7 stitches. And here's where things get extremely sad for the second time today. This man was caught on camera in a viral video that has been seen millions of times, stabbing someone at a restaurant. Nevertheless, so far as we know, he hasn't been apprehended by the police. He appears to still be at large. 7. Beating up high school students. It was about halfway through 2021 when a Florida dad beat up a student outside his daughter's high school. The dad was described as hardcore anti-mask, a man named Dan Bauman. According to the Fort Lauderdale Police Department, he was so angry about the high school's mask mandate that he showed up and assaulted a student, as if that could possibly help the situation at all. He has since been charged with aggravated child abuse. The day of the incident was the 5th day since his daughter's school had opened back up. He made sure that his daughter wasn't wearing a mask as he walked her to the front gates of the school. Talk about being embarrassed. Not only did she have to deal with being dropped off at the front door by her embarrassing dad, but she wasn't allowed to wear a mask and had to participate in her father's insanity. As Dan was leading his daughter up to the door, ensuring she would have no friends for the rest of her years in school, he had his phone out filming. That was when another student tried to grab Dan's phone out of his hand. She said she was sick of him doing this every single day since school opened. Well, Dan was sick of it too. He grabbed the girl by her shoulder, snatched her hand, and twisted her arm like he wanted to break it. Luckily for the girl's arm, a security guard stepped in, followed by a police officer. As Dan was being arrested, he screamed about how the mask mandate was illegal and against the Bill of Rights. All his screaming didn't stop him from being carried away in a cop car. 6. Brutal elevator attack. On November 13, 2020, a woman was brutally attacked in an elevator. Why? She simply asked a couple, also in the elevator, if they could please put on their masks. It was a pretty reasonable request considering the time and place and what was happening, but the couple was not having any of it. They were so personally offended by being asked to cover their faces that they turned on the woman, who happened to be 60 years old. They struck her in the face and legs, knocked her down, and beat her. She had to be treated at a nearby hospital. Thankfully, the woman did make a full recovery. However, the hoodlums responsible for the attack also made a flawless getaway. The male and female, both estimated to be between 16 and 20 years of age, fled the apartment and have never been caught. So far as we know, they got away clean with beating an old lady on video and in broad daylight in Brooklyn. 5. 10 years for fighting. A man in Iowa was sentenced to spend 10 years in prison after a disturbing outburst at a store in Des Moines. It was November 11, 2020. Shane Michael walked into the Vision for Less eyewear store wearing his face mask like a diaper, with his nose fully exposed. Another customer asked Michael politely if he could correct the position of his mask. After exchanging some heated words, the other customer decided to avoid the situation and leave. But Michael followed him into the parking lot and viciously attacked him with his fists. He bashed him in the eye, kneed him in the groin, and then pulled his mask completely down and spat in his face. He also yelled, "If I have it, you have it." When he was arrested, Michael tried to play it off like he wasn't the attacker. But according to eyewitnesses and employees at the Vision Center, Michael did indeed instigate the entire thing. Michael was charged with assault causing bodily injury. And here's where things got crazy ironic. In February of 2021, Michael was offered a plea deal that would have resulted in only 2 years of probation and no jail time. All he needed to do was plead guilty. He refused, rejected the offer, and took his case to a jury. He ended up getting 10 years in prison instead of 2 years of probation, all because he was stubborn and didn't want to admit he had done something illegal and morally reprehensible. Now he won't be out of prison until he's in his 50s. 4. The pilot and the flight attendant. A pilot for Southwest Airlines got into a fight with a flight attendant over mask rules. The incident happened in October of 2021 at a bar in San Jose. The pilot and the attendant started talking about face masks. The discussion became heated and the pilot physically assaulted the attendant. However, the police and the airline have managed to keep the incident pretty hushed. We know the pilot was put on leave, but nobody has been able to get his name. We also don't know just how far he took the assault or how badly the attendant was beat up. That being said, it wasn't the first time a flight attendant was on the wrong side of somebody's fist. Just a few months earlier, a flight attendant was attacked by a passenger and had 2 teeth punched out. The assault was just one of 477 incidences on Southwest flights from April 8th to May 15th. If you thought being out on the streets was dangerous during the pandemic, you should have tried flying anywhere with Southwest Airlines and their disgruntled, maskless passengers. 3. Tragedy in Germany. It was a dark day from Germany in September of 2021 when a man walked into a gas station and shot the clerk in the face. The clerk was just 20 years old, and all he had done to warrant his murder was ask the customer to wear a face mask. Because this happened in Germany, privacy laws have prevented the police from releasing the names of those involved. What we do know is that the suspect was 49 years old and that he told the police he was fed up with pandemic-related rules. He was so frustrated that when he walked into the gas station, picked up a six-pack of beer, and went to the counter, he had a gun tucked in his pocket in case anyone gave him a hard time. When the young clerk, a student who had his whole life ahead of him, asked that he put a mask on, things turned very quickly. The killer pulled out the gun, pointed it straight at the young clerk's face, and pulled the trigger. Tragically, the clerk was dead instantly. The killer was arrested immediately afterwards and will likely be facing life in prison. 2. Fractures at Staples. Margot Kagan was at her local Staples doing some shopping in summer of 2020 when she had her leg broken. Of course, she didn't fall over and break the leg herself. It was the result of a vicious attack by another customer who refused to put a mask on. It happened on July 29th as Margot, a mother of two, was faxing paperwork using the store's machine. She had recently had a liver transplant and was very worried about catching the virus from somebody and dying from medical complications. So it was that a maskless customer walked by, and Margot said she didn't appreciate being put in danger. Instead of being respectful and putting her mask on, or even just avoiding the situation, Terry Thomas threw the frail, still healing woman to the ground, which broke her tibia. Terry was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, and Margot sued Staples. In her suit, Margot claims she was left vulnerable because the store lacked supervision and adequate security. 1. No mask heart attack. A man in Australia suffered a heart attack in the middle of being arrested back in summer of 2021. He was being put under arrest for refusing to wear a mask while exercising outdoors. He wasn't even inside bothering anybody, but simply exercising at the Brisbane Botanical Gardens with his partner on a Monday morning. This is one of those cases where somebody citing health issues actually had health issues. When the police asked why he wasn't wearing his covering, he told the officers he suffered from heart problems and had issues breathing. This made him exempt from the mandate, especially while exercising in the great outdoors. Having dealt with so many Karens, the police didn't even bother to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. They dismissed him as being a liar and then put him in handcuffs. Seconds later, he fell to the ground and cried out in pain while having a seizure. He tried desperately to search for medicine in his bag as the police held him on the ground like he was the worst serial killer in history. He had been peaceful throughout the whole ordeal and was then bullied by the police and practically stepped on while he thrashed on the ground uncontrollably. Would you rather have to wear a mask for another year or get 2 more vaccine shots? Let us know which you find more of an inconvenience in the comments, and thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button before you go, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.